Hey, Charlotte and Cynthia, the bravest, here first. Yep. What's up? Interesting show we've got for you today. Ann Edwards. What is happening? Joel Henderson, my brother. Anthony Dunn, my brother. Ann Edwards, my sister. Emery Rose, my brother. Cynthia Albertson. Charlotte, my sisters. Hey, Vincent Peretti. Jerry Ludwig. Tabitha Shea. Oh, thank you, Tabitha. You're, so sweet. All of you, but everybody is just so incredible. Don't send anything yet, though, because we got something special we're going to do today that you need to see. Yeah, so don't send anything. Don't give anything yet. Trolls don't last but a second. So Jan Johnson, yeah, if you're not really a troll, don't joke, because they'll get you out of here really fast. Julie Saghetto. What's up? We're going to take a break from politics today. Take a break from politics and have a little bit of fun. P-Pod, what's up? Yeah, that's, my t-shirt. I'm a guitar player. Plus, we got something going on with a guitar. A certain guitar today. Yeah, Tabitha, I'm sure the super legalistic ones will say, see, it's Da Vinci, he's a devil worshiper. No. Deke, what's up, Bales? Brian Laverty, it's been a while. It has been a while. Papa MC. Yeah, whatever you do. Thank you, Michael Sharp. Thank you. Yeah, don't give anything yet. Whatever you do, if you feel like giving, don't give anything right now, because I'm going to show you something. We're going to open the floodgates here in a minute, and you want to be able to be in the running for something that I'm going to show you, which is really cool. And yeah, good day. Vincent Peretti says, yeah, you wear that shirt, it's over. Mahomes field advantage. Deke. Australia. Bales coming from Australia. All right, so I'm going to show you something. We're going to get started here in a minute. Let's see. Yeah, we got enough in here. Let's get this party started. What do you think? We should do it now? You think we should do it? Let's hit it. Hit it. Let's hit this mother. Turn it up.
And hopefully the brain attached to the mouth, right? The brain, more important than the mouth, is the brain. The brain is much more important.
He is the brain, and I am the mouth. The only problem, it already is. The spell of democracy, ladies and gentlemen. And it is like full force on this country. Full force. And yeah, a lot of craziness going on. And wait to see what we're going to do tonight. Something a little bit different. I was going to go on here first and then go to the other channel, but I've decided no, we're going to go ahead and just stay right here on this channel. Man, I love this song. Yeah, I wrote that song about, I wrote that in 2011. 2011, I wrote that song. And Son of Thunder, it sounded, like, I just want to call down God's judgment on people who deserve it. I know. What do I? Who am I to judge? Nobody deserves it, right? I don't think so. Thank you, Hannah-Laura. So check it out. Before we get into this different thing we're going to do today, watch. I want to show you something. You ever see one of these? You ever see this? I don't know if you could see the wood, but it's fiddle wood. See? Look at that fiddle wood on there. Beautiful guitar. My guitar. You've heard that song, Where We Go One, that I recorded, played on this right here. I don't play it anymore. So, we're in need of funds for this channel. So, Vincent Peretti actually had a great idea to do a raffle to get rid of this thing. So you could be in possession of this guitar. If you're a musician, you could be in possession of this awesome $600 guitar for $25. Yeah, so we're going to keep it open for 15 days. It's got a case. Yeah. So if you would like to have that guitar, we're going to do a raffle for 15 days, $25 per entry. And in 15 days, I'm going to take all the names and we're going to put them in a bucket and we're going to draw them out. And whoever gets it, whoever I pull out is going to get this guitar. So we figured, hey, I don't play it anymore. I'm a piano man now. I'm a composer. I compose symphonic pieces. I don't do metal anymore. It's just not me. I got my acoustic. So hey, So what you'll do is send $25 to the PayPal account. Make sure you put your address and make sure you write guitar on it. Even if you don't write guitar, I'm just going to assume that that's what it is. Because, if I draw your name, you're going to get a guitar. Give it to somebody. Sell it if you don't want it. But that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to do it for 15 days. 15 days. $25 for that guitar. And of course, the more, you can buy 2 entries, 3 entries, 4, whatever you want. But we're going to do it for 15 days, $25 an entry. 25 and up, anything's going to get you in the raffle. We'll talk about it again later. I'm just going to leave it up to you guys, but we're going to do something a little different today. Michael Sharp, hey. Black Knight. What brand name is it? LTD. But it's not the cheap LTD. It's the one with the serial number on the neck. Serial number on the neck. See it right there? It's ESP. Still got the plastic over it, but it's ESP. That's the inspector's sticker with it signed, and it's fiddlewood. So it has that real. Here, let me turn it up again. We'll show you. See it? That's called fiddlewood. Let me see if it'll. There you go. There you go. It has one humbucker ESP pickups, a humbucker ESP pickup, and 2 single coils, and a Floyd Rose pickup. I mean, Whammy, bridge. This is a badass guitar. It has a preamp in it. You could put a 9-volt battery in it and get the chunk. Yeah, curly maple. I call it fiddlewood because fiddles have that look. Floyd Rose, all that stuff. Do I play it? Trevor Lindsay said, "Do I play guitar?" You heard it on that song, man. That's that. It's like, like this one right here, like it's from this tune right here. I use this guitar to record this song right here. I'll let it play for just a minute. It's another one I love, man. Oh, man. This one's just so... First Where We Go One song ever. Right here. Yeah. Here, I gotta rock out. I gotta get myself off here. This is where it gets good, I think. Yeah, it's my favorite part right here.
Thus indicated throughout the world, the known as the Illuminati.
The witch has laid with the kings of the earth. Gee, who you think that we're talking about there? The witch has laid with the kings of the earth. The witch. Mm-hmm. All right, PayPal. Right. If you want this guitar, 15 days starting today, $25 in entry. We are going to raffle it off in 15 days. If you don't want it, that's fine. If you do, get it in because it'll be yours. So the shipping and insurance is probably going to be close to $100. So that's just a reality, maybe more. So, okay. So I've been getting, it's not an auction. This is not an auction. It's a raffle, $25. If you want, and that's, it'll go in a bucket and we'll draw the name, in 15 days. Tabitha, she said, I can't hear anything else about Hillary, right? I'm with you. I'm done with that. So it's no auction. It's a raffle. So $25 an entry. As many entries you want to put, you get it. You know, we're going to, and this is open to mods too. Hey, Susie Stockstill. Hello, good evening, everyone. Sean too. Tabitha, she is so sad. Why? What's going on? Oh, Renee, that's okay. We'll figure it out. Yeah, so you get the guitar. You want $25 an entry, and in 15 days we're going to draw that sucker, and whoever gets it gets it. Mods are not excluded. You can enter too. You know, maybe we'll have some runners up and we'll get some other stuff in there. 15 days starting today. Entry through PayPal. Many as you want. It helps us. You know the downturn of everything and with what has recently been going on, hey. Tabitha Shea, you called me. When? Okay, so I've been really Malcolm Clark, what's up? From Victoria, Melbourne, what's up? I've been getting a lot of requests to read my novel, and I am trying to record a audio book. So I was encouraged today to do it live and not do a produced version yet, but that we would read it here live. Folks, I need a break from politics. If we all know what's going on. we're still gonna do that stuff, but maybe we'll do this every so often. Marty Moose said, yes, please read us a few chapters. Yeah, I would like to do that. I'd like to do it often until I read the whole thing, so that when I'm done, I will have the audio book that's ready for release. So what I'll do is I'll read it live here, I'll produce it and do all the other stuff. We'll put it on the other channel. But yeah, we're gonna do this tonight. Yeah, Malcolm Clark said, we got hot spots in Melbourne and some suburbs are back in lockdown. It's coming. It is coming. Jerry Ludwig said, I'll follow along in my book. See, that just thrills me to death that folks have gotten this. If you would like a copy of this, the mods will put this. Thank you, Boro. Thank you. The mods will put a link to this. If you want this from Amazon, this is a good one. So we're going to get to this. Let me mark my spot because doing a few corrections and changes. Maybe I'll read until I can't read anymore, until I get tired of it. So it's too hot, I can't do it anymore. But man, it was 104 degrees here today. It was freaking hot. Very hot. Very, very hot. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. If you have it and want to follow along with me, that's fine. It's fun. If you don't, just sit back. I'm not going to have any background music going because this is for a recording. That'll be on the other channel if you want to hear the background music while I read and all that stuff. Yeah, we got some hot. It's hot. Well, it's 58 there. See, can you believe that? Global warming right there. 58 in Washington. 95 in Canada. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to read this. If you want an education about the Knights Templar, if you want an education about mind control, gaslighting, Freemasonry, and things like that, and how it works on you, it's right here. So I can't turn the AC on, Vincent, because I got to have a clean recording for the audiobook. Got to have a clean recording for the audiobook. All right, let's get it. The Dark Tour Company, Dead Until December, by The Deacon. Read for you by The Deacon. Season 1. Dedication. Always for Carrie. One day we will be free. Almost started crying when I said that. Scary begins now. He will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations. Numbers 14, 18b. Chapter 1. The setup. To get out of hell, I became the devil. David Goggins. With violence, the monster took her. The flower and bloom withered. He defiled her. One act destroyed generations, and after, the voodoo queen cursed him and his seed. Murdered them all. Why? Because she understood hate is a seed, and if watered with mystery and intrigue, then fertilized with revenge, it grows into violence. And murder is the crop. The old woman wanted his money. $875 million. She'd take it, laundering the money, laundering the deaths, from the swamp to the genteel, from blood to the bank, murder for freedom, innocence for depravity, the greatest horror for love. After 120 years, they buried him alive. Maybe the greatest jailbreak in history, 3 days in the ground for a lifetime of freedom. His escape from the curse, or her revenge? All will be revealed. Secrets in a world of power, money, and privilege. Murder. They take whatever they want, whenever they want. Or maybe revenge. For when the woman, the tool of justice, came, everything changed for everybody. Did he even love her enough to be buried alive? This is how it works. What they do, they hide in desire. Theirs is the way of the two-faced skeleton. They hide in their liberality and destroy the ones they give it to. They take and they take, then lie in wait to slay, laundering money and power, laundering murder, redefining history by writing themselves into the drama, turning their enemies into demons. The worst kind of human filth. They dream of a utopia and will trigger the apocalypse to get it. Masters of synchronicity. Confused yet? Come with me, and I will show you. Are you ready? Velvet red curtains are drawn to the side, showing a screen. Darkness, black as night. Now imagine a whisper, disembodied, with a growl in it. I'm going to tell you a story. Silence. Then, in the center of the screen, lights on either side of a mirror snap on. A man is there in the dressing room. Brennan Kane, skin like a tanner's hide, emerald green eyes, sideburns and stash, jet black, cut in sharp angles with his jaw. They are all dead, he says. Getting inside someone's mind to control their body is simple. Here's how you do it. Holding a sponge, practicing his lines, he dabs at his face, fixing a smudge. Holding a sponge, practicing his lines, he dabs at his face, fixing a smudge. Every last one of them, dead, gone, as extinct as the winter snow in New Orleans. With one last finger lick and twist to keep his mustache and beard razor sharp, glaring into the mirror, he snarls, Tonight, how could a murder in 1973 reveal the inner workings of a 120-year-old secret plot to commit multiple assassinations, steal a massive fortune, and get away with it? Narrating for days, he is a modern-day Hitchcock, a storyteller, a Southerner. The story he tells took place in the early 1970s, but for him, it's 2019. His voice smooth, calm on the verge of monotone, Beauty and the Beast, or twisted, sinister Juliet with an unsuspecting Romeo. And in that monotone, the pistol's trigger finger, the moment before the press, he answers himself, maybe it was the curse. His voice luring with slow, enticing movements that, in a fraction of a second, really aren't movements, but a trap, the hidden force of forethought. The curse? He asks. It is 1973, dead until December, the synchronicity game, the plan, he pauses, in the ground for 3 days. In his voice is a sliver of violence that has one foot in eternity and the other in circumstance, the curse. His voice is honeysuckle and death. He stands, face close to the mirror. Welcome to the Dark Tour Company. Chapter 2. "Okay, Brennan," said Hans rushed to either side. Pointing, the director starts. "Scene 1. Ready. 3, 2, 1. He signals go. "Louisiana State Penitentiary, Angola, 1973. How to escape. The plan? Eat a piece of paper torn from a letter that made it past the guards. His wife brought it in. She told the guard it was from his little girl." A woman is speaking to a prison guard. Brennan says, "He didn't have a little girl." The woman is now waiting in a prison visitor's booth. Brennan continues, "The guard cleared it as instructed. She paid him off with $500 each time they needed to talk. He was grateful for the extra cash." Sitting opposite the woman, a man. Glass between them. She passes a note under it. What went undetected in the guard's examination of the letters was on the lower right corner. The paper had been dipped in a special potion made by a dealer in death. A sorceress. Murder made to order. The broker? A woman in the 9th Ward arranged a meeting with a Haitian voodoo priestess, a witch doctor. It is believed she used the drug teratoxin. It comes from the puffer fish. The director holds up a hand. "Camera 2, switch to his left profile. 3, 2, 1. He points. "Val Moreau. He'd eat the paper and die. Then, after 3 days, she'd dig him up and he'd be free." The man from the visitor's booth. Hair black, wavy, shoulder length, tattoos and earrings, a 1970s Johnny Depp, alone. Cinder blocks to his back, metal bars to his right, hand at his mouth, holding something, hesitating. A woman's voice in a hiss close to the ear. "Eat it." Brennan walks along the grand porch of an antebellum mansion, white with a hue of pink in the sun. Giant columns on his right. Beyond the columns, 28 sprawling giant oak trees in 2 lines make an alley that extends to a levee. Sunbeams cut across his face, hands in his pockets. He says, "It was lights out at Angola prison. Some called it the Alcatraz of the South because the old plantation turned prison had water on 3 sides. Strolling, he looks down on occasion. When a person is sentenced to life without the possibility of parole in Angola, Angola is where they are going to die. Unless," he stops, looks up, "unless you are Val Moreau." The cackling in the cell block dies down. Sleeping, Val could finally think. The piece of paper. It's time. Brennan continues. A life sentence handed down with no mercy. Some say for a murder he did not commit. Others say for a slew of them. An old woman. "That son of a bitch should have gotten the death penalty." Brennan. Some said it would have been a mercy killing. Others said revenge. Either way, Val Moreau's life was a death sentence. From the moment he had taken his first breath, a doctor hands a mother to a newborn. Until they laid his body in the ground, a funeral, wet with rain, black umbrellas, black coats and dresses, muddy puddles, and the sky, gray. Cursed, all 'cause of something his grandpappy 3 times removed did. The old man raped a slave girl, and her family got revenge. A black man in faded jeans with a button-up shirt, voice low and rough. "Many people have tried to escape from Angola, but they all ended up dead or back in solitary confinement." Laughing and in quick southern jest, he says, "For the rest of their natural lives." The director waves a hand at a young man with a ball cap on. Sorry. The director... Man, I got to adjust this because this is not very comfortable. Here you go. There you go. The director waves a hand at a young man with a ball cap pulled over his eyes. He lowers a hand. The lights dim. Brennan, on the mansion's balcony, columns in the oaks to his left, cicadas scream. They all knew Angola had an unbreakable grip on their lives. A crow caws. Turning, searching, he says, the old plantation turned prison. The slaves called it the Big House. She had gathered her workers from the four corners of Louisiana and Mississippi, men and women who now lived alongside nature, coaxing the ground to give up its fruit, always waiting, always hoeing, always busting up concrete for no other reason than just to have something to do. Always, every day, until you die. The sun is bright on his face. In the blur beyond him, green lawn and oaks shimmer. When judgment came down, they all saw the whole ordeal, and everyone involved is just an outcropping of providence, life without the possibility of parole. So they accepted it, but not Val Moreau. The Big House owned him. It owned the master. It owned every last inmate as long as they lived, no matter where they were. But not Val Moreau. Another Big House owned him. The Oak. Behind Brennan, the great alley of giant oaks stretched back 800 feet. A grass-covered levee glows in the sun beyond the shade. He peers, almost snarling. Now he stands in a large, dimly lit rectangular room. A dimly lit rectangular room. Black, tightly tailored suit. Red turtleneck at the stem of his neck. Dark wood covers the walls. Cavernous, geometrical shapes with sharp, jagged oaken carvings loom above him. Magenta oriental rugs, black curtains hang from ceiling to floor. The pomp of the room softened everything in velvet. Speaking in hypnotizing calm, he says, every escapist was caught and returned to Angola. Their crime tried. They received 20 years added to a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Most can't even imagine it. Life without the possibility of parole. Life without the possibility of freedom. Life without the possibility of ever leaving a 10 by 12 concrete barred box. He pauses, leaning in the sagest words of a fairy tale. For as long as you shall live. Silence. Why'd all the escapees get caught or were killed? Darkness. In summer sun, Angola, sand grit concrete cube in a sea of green, high fence, razor wire at its top, gleaming, death. Now the mansion, lush alley of oaks stretching to the levee, freighter ships on the water, the river, the oaks, the mansion, life. The answers we're looking for while on the dark tour are the reasons behind the reasons. Again, why did all the escapees get caught or were killed? The answer? They left the prison alive. He turns, vanishing around a corner. Standing under a great chandelier, his hands rest on a blue velvet wingback chair at its front. Persian rugs on the floor. Classical oils framed in gold litter the walls. In order to live on the outside, Val Moreau would have to die. He circles and sits, black velvet against gold, screams. That's what the old lady from the swamp told him. Her name? Eloise Azili. Today, in 2019, historians specializing in the successions of American voodoo royalty, and yes, that's what it is, say she was the voodoo queen in 1973. Pictures fade in and out, showing an old, dry, brittle Haitian woman. Older sepia-toned photos in her youth. As the woman aged, the photographs in sun-bleached color and faded. He whispers, "There is a dark side to the Louisiana swamp, where ghosts bent on revenge hide in the folds of old mouths, wanting to come out." A woman, African American, red dress, round spectacles, in blaring sun, walks in what appears to be a cemetery. Professor Donna Young. In the early 1970s, no one in Louisiana thought about voodoo royalty. The Haitian maid who cleaned your cupboards or put away your dishes. Images of blacks and slaves working in a cotton field morph into blacks working as maids, cooks, drivers, anything. She stops at a grave. Any one of these Haitian or African Americans could have just as easily been the voodoo queen as someone you might expect to be in the role and look the part, hiding in plain sight. And it's still like this today. Holding out her arms for balance, she walks slow, careful not to dishonor the dead. An invisible line exists. An invisible line exists between what's natural and what's unnatural. She stops at a grave, and that line always seems to move forward and back, always out of reach. At the headstone, I have a very rare video of an interview Eloise gave before she passed. Pausing, contemplating, and shaking her head slightly. You know, she looks down at her feet. Eloise had that typical sweet old lady voice, but with Haitian accent. She was so old, and I can't remember if she was answering a question or giving instructions. She said, the professor hunches over, mimicking the age, speaking with Haitian accent, raspy, elderly, channeling Eloise. She says, "The closer you get to that line, it will move forward and back by itself. Wisdom is the understanding of what makes that line move, in what direction and how far." She straightens, lecturing. Practical management of that wisdom leads to a cause and learns how to control it. I remember her voice would become louder. She leans in, voice Creole, becoming the old woman again. She says, "That is voodoo." Professor Young walks on the lawn away from the oak, the plantation in the distance behind her, over her left shoulder. From what we've gathered from relatives and friends of both Val and Eloise, we believe the two crossed paths and met at the Oak Foundation Company picnic. She'd been introduced as someone's distant cousin whose cousin we're not quite sure. That's the piece we are missing. A gray-haired but young man, Rex Libby, podcast talk show host. Hold on, I gotta wipe the sweat from my eyes. Hold on. Tabitha Shea says, "I try not to cross that line." Cool. Are we still good with this? Everybody, don't forget, if you're new, if you're just coming into the show, we are doing a raffle of an awesome guitar. I'll show it again later. Just give me a break. Let me wipe the sweat. Are we still good with this? We still good with this? Handler Tepper says, "I'm relaxed." Good. Just relax. Hear it. Oh, yeah. We need to find out if Mad Dog had an accident. I didn't hear anything. Okay, good. We're good with me reading. Good, because I need to get this audiobook done, and this is how we can do it. Thank you, Donald Yan. Go ahead. Linda Hipple, wow, you caught the show. Yes. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Rex Libby, the talk show host. Here we go. A gray-haired but young man, Rex Libby, podcast talk show host, sitting in a small metal chair at a table outside the lower gallery under the veranda. Tour participants mull around, occasionally seen. Soft voices mutter. Elbows on the table, hands near his face, he leans in, like conversing with a friend. We are shocked that he took we are shocked that she took it's hard to say. We are shocked that she took such a risk. I mean, being seen out in public is not the issue. It's allowing Val to see her. That has us baffled. The lady was committed to a plan she believed was divine. She actually showed herself to him, close enough to shake his hand. Chapter 3. The grass is bright in the Angola yard. 25 men huddled together, working out. Some play basketball. There is laughing and jeering. Standing at a fence, hands on the wire, Val stares out. Brennan walks past him. Val lived as a prisoner under the curse long before Angola. He'd learned the art of escape on many different levels, and he saw this one. An escape, a way out of both the prison and the curse, killing two birds with one stone, you might say. The only problem? One of those birds was a ghost. The prison from the air, water looming on three sides, almost in a whisper, Brennan says, the escape. In a wood shop, a white prisoner hammers, making a box. Brennan continues, in a wood shop, a white prisoner hammers, making a box. Brennan continues, when an inmate dies at Angola prison, there are coffins made by other prisoners. The hammering stops. The inmate says, they pack 'em up and ship 'em out. He laughs. Back at the fence line, along the barbed barrier, Brennan walks. Val fades to blur behind him. The sun bright. In the past, dead inmates were the property of the state, buried along the levee outside the prison grounds. But because of a great flood in 1927, that stopped. When the waters receded, bodies were strewn all over the place, and the town's residents were not going to have any of that. So in the 70s, things changed. Angola contacted the next of kin, and they could collect the body. Sweat, beads on his forehead, sharpened, carved face staring through the barbs. He continues, that is, if they wanted it. A man and woman sit facing one another, bulletproof glass between them. Speaking low in a complacent calm, as if not to disturb them, Brennan says, we believe the plan was made a month before his death. The guard left Val and his wife Alex alone so they could talk. Val waits until the door shuts. Telephone in his hand, teal green, close to the glass, he says, Remember that old woman in Haiti? He looks side to side and past his visitor, paranoid. L'Essayon Pitson. It's hard to say, it's Haitian. L'Essayon Pitson Zondi. Remember? It's a potion to make a zombie. That's what she said. Opposite him, Alex did not move. Blonde, eyes bright blue, dimpled cheeks. Alex, with this stuff, he swallows, a person can be mistaken for dead. Do you understand what that means? Alex puzzled, then eyes widened in realization. Val, are you Yes, Alex, he interrupts. I got a message out to a lady. I got a message out to a lady I know. It came back saying she knows of a Haitian woman and a Zealy who can make it. She lives out in the swamp. She lives out in the swamp, way back behind Lake des Almonds. This is our chance, baby. Walking in the same cemetery as before, a tall woman, elegant and wearing glasses, blonde hair, a maroon graphic in the lower left corner with white letters, Jane Chabanel, forensic anthropologist. Those who knew Val Moreau say he was extremely claustrophobic and would die in Angola before he'd ever let himself be buried alive. Yet, we believe that's exactly what he did, with no oxygen, no food, and no escape, and we're going to prove it. Okay, we're going to take a break right there. And push the guitar again. Hold on just a second. So if you just joined us, we are raffling off my guitar. I don't play it anymore. So we figured with what's happening with the channel, the demonetization and all, that this would help the channel. It's a black LTD serial number, ESP humbucker and single coil, Floyd Rose, and it's rippled maple or fiddle wood. See it? See that wood? It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. $600 guitar. $600 guitar. We're doing a raffle, $25 per raffle. So you could get this guitar for $25. 15 days. The raffle will be open for 15 days. Now, once it's done, I'll put the tickets in a bucket, we'll shake it up, and we'll draw the name. And someone could win this guitar for $25. Yeah, the channel needs money, folks. You know what happened. And this is the way we're going to raise it. So if you want that guitar, $25 a spot. You can have as many entries as you want. 15 days, we are gonna draw, and you're gonna get that guitar. Just know that the shipping and handling will probably be, and insurance will probably be about $100. So I got to look it all up, but we'll figure that out. Renee Beard, the sponsors, drop the show. That's happening with everyone. 2 of the things. So there we go. But I love it. Renee Beard and Renee Joy right there. Like, look at that. My 2 favorite Renees right there. Susie Stocksell said, if I won, I'd drive down to get it. And you know what? You would be welcome to do that, and it will be a lot of fun. Okay. Wow. Chapter 4. See, we're moving fast. It's moving pretty fast. I love it. It's easier reading to someone else rather than sitting here by myself, you know. That's no fun. Peapod, how are you feeling, my friend? Renee Beard said, oh, thanks, War Drummer. You are our favorite deacon. Tabitha Shia said, I'd rather drive someone. Thank you. Thank you, Renee Joy. Thank you. Vincent Peretti says, don't let the shipping stop you. I'll sponsor the cost. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. That's amazing. Vincent Peretti. That's awesome. All right, let's get to it. $25 per raffle ticket, $600 guitar. Awesome, beautiful guitar. You can give it to someone else or whatever. Doesn't matter. But yeah. Thank you, Trevor Lindsay. You liking this? Awesome. 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 All right, let's do this. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Brennan directs an excavator as it backs into place. Land surveyors in yellow vests mark a place near a headstone with 4 orangish-red flags on wooden stakes. He says, bribes were paid. Plans were made to resurrect the manifestation of the scariest nightmare shared by every person on the face of this earth, all to get out of Angola. He was desperate. They'd pass him off for dead, and he'd be buried alive. He pauses. Alex got the potion from Eloise. In a dark swamp, floating like a ghost in a small, rotten wooden box. Floating like a ghost in a small, rotting wooden boat. Dressed in red high heels, slacks, white blouse, and blood-red overcoat, the woman floats. She's out of place. A man stands at the boat's end, gaunt, skin the color of coal with blonde shoulder-length hair. He jabs a pole into the water, a moss-covered shack, getting closer. Brennan with a shovel back at the headstone. Headstone. And whether it was his plan or hers, only with a thorough investigation of the facts can we answer that. Is it even possible for someone to be buried alive for 3 days? He needed to be in the ground or at least thought to be in the ground long enough. Fog rises behind him. Then get his money. Let me read that again. It has to be perfect. Hold on. He needed to be in the ground, or at least thought to be in the ground long enough. Fog rises behind him. Then get his money. He jabs the shovel into the ground and pushes it with his foot. The ground would have still looked disturbed on the 3rd day. Any longer, ground disturbance becomes evidence. A man with a hard hat approaches and takes the shovel. With the grave behind him, walking toward the excavator, Brennan says, and today, 45 years later, we're going to disturb that ground again. Are you guys following it? Do you get what's going on? They're going to dig his grave up to see if he's even in there. 40 years later. You following? You getting it? Back in the swamp, Val's wife Alex, with the help of the strange man, exits the boat. Rotten dockboards and rusty nails heave. Emerald green ferns swallow any and all light surviving the journey through the canopy. Her blonde hair, the blood-red overcoat, and the white blouse. She's out of place. Brennan, in ghosting fog and light, walks toward the mansion. In the ground for 3 days. Most importantly, he must fool the lien holders on his life, Angola and the ghost of the oak, the ghost of Eloise, Eloise's mother. The ghost, the woman Jack Moreau raped, the reason for the curse. Jack Moreau, the builder, the first master of the plantation. What he did on that horrible night is why we are here. The mansion, through the alley of oaks, the big house. Several months after the birth of his only son, Henry, Jack was found dead with a small two-headed skeleton in his mouth. The curse. Val was not just escaping from prison. They needed to believe he was dead. He needed to die to be free. Alex at the shack's door reaches for the knob. It opens. In blur, sitting against a blackened paneled wall, a light-skinned woman. Disheveled hair hides her face. It's Eloise. Val and Alex back in the prison's visitor booth. Glass barricade between them. Muffled echoes disguise their whispers. Brennan narrates. Val Moreau was worth $875 million. That's a lot by today's standards. But back in 1973, he shrugs his shoulders. Rex, in a red suit, silver hair oiled back at a table with a laptop. Yet, he was owned by an old farm plantation turned prison, Angola, and a curse. We think he tried to buy his way out, and he may have been successful. Alex leans in, phone gripped tightly. She says, You'll eat the paper with the potion on it, and within an hour fall asleep and technically die. Panic forms on Val's face. Okay. This is very important. Focus, she snaps. The morning guard will find you at 7 a.m. Our man doesn't come on until 2, and he knows nothing about this. Rex, walking in the prison cell block. Interviews of inmates who knew Val Moreau in prison all described a very nervous Mr. Moreau the last few days. I'm going to read it again. Interviews of inmates who knew Val Moreau in prison all describe a very nervous Mr. Moreau the last few days of his life. Val says, How can you be so sure the guard doesn't know? They baited him, and he didn't bite. He doesn't know anything. Brennan, at a table in a cafeteria, inmates come and go, ignoring him. For the plan to work, only 2 people besides himself could have known about it. Eloise, who wasn't going to talk. Let me read it right. For the plan to work, only 2 people besides himself could have known about it. Eloise wasn't going to talk. No one would be visiting her or even knew about her. Only Val and Alex. Alex says, We'll have everyone paid off. From your cell to the mortician, you'll be fine. Staring at the floor, Val's hands rub at his temple. Val's hands rub at his temples. She whispers, Val. He looks up. It's got to be 3 days. Anything more leaves you awake and breathing, buried and alive. Anything less, and you're caught. Brennan. She needed him to be convinced if the plan was going to work. Because if he doesn't die, they'd never be free. Lying under the bunk in his cell, he'd practice. But he knew it wasn't the same. He could get out. And here he is, ready to eat the paper and die, only to be dug up, resurrected to a new life, free from Angola, free from Louise the ghost, and free from the curse. Brennan on the brick path, walking. Giant oaks on either side. The mansion behind him. For the residents of Louisiana, there's only two choices when it comes to life and where they want to live it. There is life in Angola. Footage from above shows the Angola fortress Footage from above shows the Angola fortress shrinking. Footage from above shows the Angola fortress shrinking. The water on three sides expanding. The tangled barbed wire wrapping in endless mounds of hopelessness, burying the inmates in their forgotten, cut-short lives. Brennan and life outside of Angola. People at tables, pigeons in the distance, Café du Monde in the open air, blue sky expanding, lovers in the spring, in the sun. A man holds a baby above him. A woman is at his side, now a graduation. The director speaks into the air. 3, 2, 1. Camera 1, zoom in on his profile. Most sane people live law-abiding lives and live in freedom. A banner, bottom center reads, The Dark Tour Company. TDT, or the Dark Tour Company, believes there are some criminals who are very sane and know how not to get caught. Was it murder or a curse? 120 years, 5 mysterious deaths with evidence connecting them to a single brotherhood. One might even say a single killer, or, as we might be led to believe, many killers. Brennan lifts his hands, the mansion mammoth behind him, voice sharp, booming, jabbing. This is the story of Dead Until December, murder or a curse. Melodic strings and electric guitar fade in, building. Or is it murder for money? The director. Camera 2, zoom in on his face, dim the lights, cue credits, hold. Look into the camera, Brennan. Come on, raise that eyebrow. He pauses, waiting for the moment, then whispers, Now. Brennan says, and that's why we are going to dig him up. And cut. Young women rush toward Brennan, taking his coat. The director walking toward him. Brennan, that was great. Want to take a break or do you want to have another? Brennan, that was great. Want to take a break or do you have another in you? Keep filming, he whispers. Look at these people. He nods toward the tour participants. They're loving it. Film it, man. Let's get this. Are we working with this? Is this going all right? Jerry Ludwig, you just get anxious thinking about what? Being buried alive? Wayne Carlisle, Brian Glaze, Tabitha Shea. We're doing good with this? You like this? Little break from politics? Hannelore Tepper, I'll go a little while. Yeah, I'll go a little while. Let's push that guitar really, really quick. So if you're just joining us, we're struggling here at on this channel, so we're actually raffling off this guitar. It is an LTD Deluxe $600 guitar. Rippled maple, fiddlewood, ESP humbucker, 2 single coils, Floyd Rose, preamp, $25 a raffle entry. We got 15 days, and I'm going to draw the name. Whoever gets it wins this guitar. $25 a ticket. You could buy as many as you want, but we're going to pull it in 15 days. Whoever wins gets this guitar. Noble Gold bailed. And it's okay. The Lord's going to provide. We don't need them anyway. We're good? I'm going to keep going. We're good? Chapter 5. Wow. Chapter 5. Man, this is my magnus opus. I mean, I say that every book I write, but there is stuff in this book. There is life in this book. There's wisdom in this book. There is life. I'm telling you. Jerry Ludwig, something better is coming. Something better is coming. Yeah, send your raffle entries to PayPal. And I'm telling you guys, this is, Marty said this book is so relevant. What this book is, I believe, is how Jeffrey Epstein escaped. He lived in the Caribbean, ladies and gentlemen. This is what this is about. I wrote this before him. Remember, he's in there and a woman visited him? Thank you, Donnelly and Gwen. Remember that? Remember that? A woman visited him. This book is multi-level. Peapod, Serpent in the Rainbow. I know that guy. I know that writer. I spoke to him many times on the phone. I almost did the audiobook for Serpent in the Rainbow. I started working on it. I'm like, this is way too evil. Way too evil, and I backed out. Thank you, Debbie Dale. Thank you. Thank you. Faking his death. Good. Yes. With the drug teratoxin. That is the issue that occurs. That is how they smuggle human beings. They traffic. Human trafficking is the drug teratoxin is used. And they bury these people thinking they're dead. And then they come back and dig them up and take them away. Yes, Serpent in the Rainbow was a movie. Yes, it's about this drug. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Glenn Orgel, it's how they make zombies. Yes, yes. Big time creepiness going on Serpent in the Rainbow. I'm surprised they haven't remade it, because that is a crazy movie. But that guy, I spoke to him several times. Like I said, interesting guy, total pagan earth worshiper. I would call him deep state, definitely, because he's like, TED TV. He's like the founder he's like a senior fellow on the National Geographic Society. Yeah. Chapter 5. Haiti, Port-au-Prince, 1826. Plumes of Roman candles light the sky in the new Haiti independence freedom celebrations. Earlier, men came to her village when the day is hot, while the women carry water out of the jungle with knives huddling the women together. A Frenchman speaks, voice northern, thick and Creole accented. Pointing a long blade at them, he says, "Any of you scream?" They check the girls one by one. Any of you scream? They check the girls one by one, looking for someone. Then they find her. Fiza. She's hugging her mama. Ripped from her mother's arms by a man with a machete, he'd threatened to cut off her hands. Not Fiza's hands, her mama's. An old pirate of a man, dirty, oily skin glistening, dark tongue licking crusty lips, framing rotten teeth. His eyes widen, hand over Fiza's face, mouth close to her ear. He says, "You can scream all you want." He licks the girl's ear. "It ain't gonna help you." Bought and paid for before she'd woke that morning, before the man she was to marry held her. They took her. Now she's cargo. Precious cargo. Later, the men got careless, and she almost got away. Running, fast as she can, desperate, moonlight glistens on tall purple sugarcane stalks brushing against her face. She had managed to work the ropes free. While the head man took a piss, she got away. Looking back, the wind carries the barking to her. She can't see them, but she knows. A piggish, short, stubby white man steps in front of the hunting party. Tobacco dribble lay in the corner of his mouth. He spits, "If we let this girl escape, it's over for us." Thinking about her mama and daddy, the girl looks up, then slips, falling face first in the dirt and lying still. She listens. Tobacco mouth leads the hunt now. Voice raking, hands raising. "Wait, shh," he says. "Be real still. She'll move. Give it a minute and you'll see." Frozen, her heart pounds. Leaves on a cane stalk quiver with every beat. She is sure they see it. Breathing loud in her ears. "God, please." She fights back the reflex to scream, to cry, lips quivering, hand to her mouth. She listens. It is quiet. Are they gone now? Are they gone? She eases up, trying to see through the stalks. Tobacco mouth whispers, "Okay, here we go. Keep that dog quiet. Be real still." When they caught her, and after they bound and gagged her, they put her in a box. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Can you believe it? Chapter 6. Are you able to follow? Do you realize that the picture, the plantation on the picture there on the screen, the man and woman kissing, that is Val and Alex. That's the plantation. Chapter 6. The plane banks hard to the right, whining and flexing under the weight of pilot and passenger. It levels out. In black, oversized aviator glasses, morning matted hair, and a Metallica t-shirt, the pilot points past Brennan's face, speaking loud into his headset, voice thin, like in a small AM radio. "It's in a patch of trees about a half-mile to the left of those power lines. Keep an eye out for 'em. They'll help us get our bearings on the location of the camp. It'll be coming up here real soon. Be on the lookout for a dock butting up against a patch of trees. It connects the cabins. Hold on." Flying beyond the lake, Flying beyond Lake des Allemands, a never-ending expanse of canal, swamp, and tree lie before them. Glowing against the bruised, overcast sky, gray Spanish moss slithers in giant emerald green. Gray Spanish moss slithers in giant emerald green cypress fingers, blanketed in fog, spilling out from somewhere deep and prehistoric. The hum of engine and rushing air around the fuselage make a haunting, dissonant symphonic drone of cellos and horns. Brennan couldn't shake it. The anticipation of impending doom. He had only seen satellite images and old photos of the place. Still, they fly through the cloud cover. When we see it, do a couple of flyovers. If anybody's still down there, they'll know better than to harm us. The pilot gazes at Brennan, as if at a foolish child. What? Brennan asks. That all depends. On what? How close they are to dying. What? If they young, the man's Cajun accent strong, they won't want anyone knowing they out here. And you want to announce, he mocks Brennan, hey, we know y'all down there, and we want to visit. He looks to his left. But if they old, he pauses, they could care less. Like my granddaddy say, turning back to his passenger, they'll shoot us out this air just as fast as you can shit yourself. And they are old, Brennan thinks. Maybe you're right, he says, concerned, but more so excited. And, he pauses, considering something. You can't fly over it and see anything. The cover's too thick. We'll have to fly low to get a look into the tree cover. He touches the glass with his forehead, trying to see straight down. Hey, I see it. Yeah, I got it. It looks deserted. I'll fly by a couple of times. We can check it out. Maybe we'll land after all. The ruffian smiled, devilish, as if hoping for a fight. They circled back. No one. Vacant. It looks abandoned. The pilot, with superiority of a cultured know-it-all, says, Son, he pauses for effect, all these camps out here look abandoned. T'ain't no camp if it looks lived in. They fly past the third time. Okay, the pilot says. I say we land. Brennan rubs his hands together, excited. All right, let's do this. A breeze out of the north pushes the water, making it choppy. They touch down, splashing and spraying erupt. Shit, the pilot curses. Slowing, he points the small plane toward an old dock near the bank. Trees glow against the swampy blackness, drifting in, engines cut. They arrive. Brennan tests the dock. It holds. You got your pistol? He asks. Sure do. What about you? Always. Brennan pulls his jacket aside. Black metal gleams. God damn, the burly man says, spooked. With a last flutter and belch, the propeller stops. Air quiet. Water laps against hollow pontoons. A whispering breeze, moss and leaf sigh. A whooping crane screams, startling them. Giant white wings slap at the black water, rising, stark. An intricate, veiny maze of rotten, sun-bleached wood and rusty nails connects shack to shack. No rails, no land, only water. Up at the end to the right, a small shed-like looking thing. Up at the end to the right, a small shed-like looking thing on disintegrating stilts. The pilot nods, motioning to its porch. In plain view of anyone on the dock, a sign, "No trespassing. Keep out." Under it, a rooster's head dangles on a string, comb and wattle still a crimson red, dripping. "It's fresh," the pilot says. Brennan asks, "You all right?" "Oh, yeah, I'll be fine, but I think we need to get out of here." A click. Metal on metal. "You ain't going nowhere." Did you catch that? Someone had a gun. Someone was there. And they cocked it and said, "You ain't going nowhere." Chapter 7. I think we'll keep going a little bit more. The question is, I know that I'm stopping and I'm fixing it because it has to be recorded right. But can you see it in your head? Can you see the images in your head? That's what I want to know. Is it like a movie in your head? Wayne Carlisle, you don't know how much that makes me happy. I write to have that happen. I write. That's how I write. If I could, no offense, but if I could just do this, it's all I'd do. I love to write. Chapter 7. Renee Beard said, "I see it and I smell it. That is awesome." You see, when I take this recording, I'm going to produce it. Thank you, Jerry Ludwig. I'm going to produce it where there's images and background music, and I'm going to put it on the other channel. But yeah. Thank you, Jerry Ludwig. That means so much. Chapter 7. Fisa, 1826. She fought them, and she fought them hard. When the captain said he could deliver freight unharmed, he meant it. For fear she'd mess up her legs, the men picked her up For fear she'd mess up her legs, the men picked her up, two by the feet and two by the arms, and stuffed her into a box, a wooden coffin with holes. In there, she couldn't move to hurt herself. "She'll be fine till we get there." Wait, in there she can't move to hurt herself. "She'll be fine till we get there." Till we get there. They really didn't want to put her in there. And they couldn't do what they really wanted, so. A deckhand got caught with her behind some freight. The man who caught him said he heard muffled whimpering. When the captain got finished, no one could pull the knife out of his chest. So they threw his body overboard. The cargo. Gotta protect the cargo. The captain knows his men. It's for her and their own safety. They'd sailed through the Caribbean Sea and entered the mouth of the Mississippi at the southern pass. Storm after storm, the boat would rear up and dive, slamming into the water, roll left, tip and dive, then roll right. The sails at half-mast would whip and snap, block and tackle slams against the mast. Thousands of timbers stretch and groan, expanding and contracting over and over, up and down. Outside the rain blasts the sides like pellets of glass. Death would have been better. In the cargo, hold on, I gotta mark this because I gotta fix it. In the cargo area, slaves lie chained to one another in vomit and urine, feces swirl in hay and seawater, shifting this way and that. Debris washes into a runnel in the floor. The ship pitches. Water pours through a hatch in the ceiling. This goes on for hours. In murdering fear, Visa in a box on her back, screams, heavy breathing in a box, beams of light through breathing holes, passing out. Darkness. A woman, mulatto, ancient, long gray and white speckled dreadlocks snake out from Long gray and white speckled dreadlocks snake out from a red scarf tied over her head. Eyes deep set in turquoise. The graphic reads, Catherine St. John, author from Haiti and back. Turning to cross her legs, thin gold-framed glasses catch glimmers of light. Her voice deep, full of breath and polite snobbery. When she first arrived, she stayed in the big house. We will never be able to grip the trauma she'd been through, she nods. Visa was a fighter, you see. Jack couldn't do all the things to her he wanted, and that's what he bought her for, you see. A slave to do anything with desired. And being the businessman he was, he sent her out to the servants and told her she could come back when she had straightened out. She narrates, white men on horseback patrol along rows of sugar cane. The men on the horses, she says, they liked to watch Visa work, and Jack knew that too. So he brought her back in. That's where this story really starts. Do you realize this is about human trafficking, folks? At about 5 in the evening, they enter the Southern Passage, the giant river, the air hot, thick, and wet. Pointing, a woman says, "It's the Mississippi." They arrive to a massive dock built into the side of a levee. An African woman came to fetch her out of the box earlier. "Welcome, child, welcome." She stands on the bow. After a bath and a change of clothes, she didn't recognize herself in the mirror. They'd gotten her all done up and ready. To the house's right, men on horseback riding along field after field of sugar cane. The heads of black men and women bob up and down, in and out of stalks of sugar. Giant oak trees, green grass, and sugarcane fields stretch as far as she could see. Everything serving as decoration for the jewel in the middle of it all, the big house, the oak. Chapter 8. Chapter 8! Yeah! Meant eat me some crackers. Titus Pulo, crackers? Who you calling a cracker? Chapter 8. Before the voice from the dock finishes saying, "Nowhere," both Brennan and the pilot had their pistols out and pointing. Small, ancient, and stunned, an old man stares at the barrels. "What's it gonna be, old man?" the pilot asks. "Two of us and one of you. You can put that gun down, and we'll turn around and leave." Brennan, seeing the opening, says, "Or you could answer a few questions." The pilot's head turns toward the city dweller. "So what you say?" Brennan asks. Still pointing his gun at the pilot, the old man asks, "Questions like what?" "Like, is this your camp?" The man points the gun toward Brennan. He says, "Yes, it is. It was my daddy's first, but he died and left it to me. What else?" "You live out here alone?" "On weekends. During the week, I'm out of Thibodeau. Now my turn. Why you asking all this?" Brennan explained the show. The old man got excited when he learned they'd be digging Val Moreau's grave up to see if he got away or not. The old man lowers his gun. "I've always believed he escaped." What about the people that lived here, the Azilis? Daddy just let them live here. They weren't paying no rent. When Daddy died, he was doing the books. When Daddy died, we was doing the books and saw they hadn't paid in 3 years, so I evicted them. When was this? In 1973. I'd come out to serve them the papers, but they'd already gone. Guess they didn't need the place no more. After making the arrangements for times to film, Brennan got the man's address in Thibodeau and said he'd send him a check for the days used. Brennan got the man's address in Thibodeau and said he'd send him a check for the days used to film. To the pilot, Brennan says, "You ready? I've got to be in New Orleans to shoot the tour. Tonight? Yes, in 2 hours, at the grave of Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen." It's about to happen. They're getting ready. Should I read chapter 9? The Hawk, you're crazy, man. Hawk, you a crazy cracker. Yeah. Chapter 9. We still good? We hanging in there? We got a few left. We got a few left in here. A few left still interested. Susie Stockstill, that's awesome. Chapter 9. Got a burp. Chapter 9. Oh, I gotta read 2 more at least. I gotta get to the 2, when they're in the graveyard. Chapter 9. A drone films over an empty beach. View straight down. Foam rushes white sands. Land disappears. Waves getting larger. The Gulf. A map fades in. The Caribbean. Haiti is there. The graphic reads, Rex. If we were to attempt to trace the thread of Haitian underground fraternal movements and their effects and influences on Southern American plantation owners and culture, we might see things very differently than we've been taught. We might see things very differently than what we've been taught in school. A black flag waving, skull and bones, an old ship fighting waves. Brennan in the mansion's library, hands on oaken shelves, looking for a book. For example, the famous Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean. They flew the skull and bones, yet the rotten-toothed, hooked hand and peg-legged persona hides the reality of the real, hypnotizing the onlooker. The skull and crossbones were on the flags of the Templars who, he finds a book and removes it, in the 13th century just happened to have the largest naval fleet in the world. It is a well-known fact, ladies and gentlemen. The great fortune of the Templars was said to be on those ships that mysteriously went missing, all of which, to this day, have never been found. Rex on a beach. Waves brush his feet, hair blowing, gulls call. This is the Gulf of Batabano off the coast of Cuba. When the Templars were inland, they'd sell slaves to the rich merchant in the market, then send their men out to attack the merchant ship on his way home. They'd leave him with the slaves, but take everything else. A white man strolls along a dock, long overcoat and cuffs, top hat on his head. Rex continues. He was part of the 5% of the Haitians that were not of African descent. The 5% needed to mix with an African to make what we call mulatto. If you can find a good map, go down to the tip of Florida and follow down between Cuba and Puerto Rico. That's where you'll find the place. It is one island. He pauses. Now listen to me very carefully. Voice lowers, commanding attentiveness, revealing. It is one island shared by two countries, the Dominican Republic and Haiti. The Caribbean Sea to its south, the North Atlantic above, and I went there. Banana trees swim in dreamlike floral patterns, growing out and flowing back into some kind of ivy, stretching for miles. Rex walks between two Haitian guides. In the distance, a mountain green with grass, a large structure on its top. Hawks circling in the distance. The Citadelle Lafayette is that huge fortress on the top of that mountain over there. It's like the largest fortress in all the Americas. I mean, think about that. Today, in 2019, it is the largest fortress in the Americas, and it was built, his voice falling in volume, talking through his teeth, get this, in the 1700s. It's a real place, ladies and gentlemen. This is an historical novel. All of the historical facts are true in this. He climbs stone steps, hugging the mountainside. This place was built by none other than the man who was a key leader during the Haitian slave rebellion that lasted almost 13 years. And his name? Are you ready for this? His name was Henry Christophe. Remember, Jack at the Oak had only one son? His name was Henry, even spelled the same. The Henry in Haiti served under or was subordinate to a man by the name of Jean-Jacques or Jack Dessalines. These two guys captured Santo Domingo from the French in March of 1805. Back at the Oak, Brennan walks along the gallery balcony. A camera boom hangs in the air away from the big house filming him. The twin has been revealed. One skeleton, two faces. One island, two countries. And on this island, there is Jack Dessalines. On this island, there is a Jacques Dessalines, and he has a subordinate named Henry. And here's another piece of synchronistic insanity for you. The emperor that preceded Jean-Jacques in Haiti was named Alexandre Peyton. Two photos appeared. One, a drawing of a Haitian man, and a photo of Alexandria, or Alex, Val's wife. And this Alexander guy, he wanted to marry Jacques' daughter, and Jacques said no. So what did he do? Some think Alexander killed Jacques because of it, assassinated him with a group of men, like Caesar. Remember that, with a group of men. Rex on the outer wall of the monolithic structure. Sun glistens in sweat on his forehead and face. A man with camera mounted on a wheeled tripod follows him as he speaks. Way back, when Jack sent out his man, after he landed at Port-au-Prince, we believe he went into the town of Grande Rivière du Nord and saw a beautiful Haitian slave girl. This was the purpose for his voyage. In hopes of pleasing his master, the agent chose that girl. Her name was Fiza. The only problem, that young slave girl was the daughter of none other than Celamine, Jacques' daughter, and she was meant for something else. So he returned empty-handed. As a result, Jack in Louisiana only got a story about the beautiful girl, and he was not happy. Rex, back at the mansion, walks into the great room and hands something to Brennan. Rex says, "So, Why do you think Celimene Dessalines was a slave girl in Grand Riviere du Nord? She was royalty. This is the one event that we believe was the root cause of the curse on the Moreau family. Historians tell us that Alexandra the Quadroon, 1/4 African, wanted to marry Celimene, but she was not so keen on the idea. Alexandra wanted Jacques to give him Celimene, but Jacques wouldn't. So it is believed, partly because of Celimene's refusal, Alexandra took part in a conspiracy to murder Jacques. Many tales have been told of when Jacques, with multiple stab wounds and choking to death on his own blood, Alexandra claimed Celimene as his and made her his slave. While a slave, Celimene met a young black man who also had been made a slave by Alexandra. They fell in love and wanted to marry. This black man was none other than heir to the most powerful throne in the unseen dimension of Haiti. This black man was none other than heir to the most powerful throne in the unseen spiritual dimension of Haiti, the Jamaican-born, soon-to-be voodoo high priest Michael Angelo. His father prophesied a victorious uprising for the slaves and was instrumental in the revolt of 1791. Master Alexandra sold Michael away from Celimene, but before he did, Celimene got pregnant. After giving birth for 2 long years, she raised the feisty little girl alone. She and the child were Alexandra's disgrace. He couldn't look at her. He sold the girl and her child to Michael's owner for 50 gourds. That'd be about $25 today. They raised little Fiza together, but they never married. So, you see, Fiza always was and never ceased to be an Azili. Michelangelo loved Celimene and Fiza. One day, with the men away in the city, the village was invaded by Jack's men with machetes. One day, with the men away in the city, the village was invaded by Jack's men with machetes. That'd be Jack from the Oak in Louisiana. We believe they may have killed Celimene and many others. There is no mention of her in history again. However, this could have been because she was a slave. Michelangelo more than likely found Celimene and the others, but his daughter Fiza was gone. Fiza was 16. Chapter 10. Fiza was 16. That's how I want it to sound when I record it, when I produce it. So, hey, don't forget about the guitar raffle. $25 gets you that guitar. If you missed it, after the show, you can rewind and see it. Beautiful guitar. We're trying to raise some money over here. $25 per raffle ticket. We're going to do it for 15 days and raise some money for the channel. And then someone's going to get an awesome guitar. Do with it whatever you want. Chapter 10. Wearing a tailored charcoal gray suit with deep wine-red cuffs, Brennan walked slow through the St. Louis Cemetery. Brennan walked slow through the St. Louis Cemetery in New Orleans. Tour participants follow him. Cameramen come and go. A man holds a giant microphone covered with foam on a boom. He keeps it low to Brennan's head, but out of the camera shot. For effect, Brennan walks with a cane. The crowd follows him. He stops and turns. "Good evening. Come Come, he motions with his hand. Come in close. I won't bite you. The tour's just getting started. This is not the scary part, I promise you. Come on, come close. In the back, can you hear me well enough? In the back, can you hear me well enough? His voice carries through the ground and into their chests. Mosquitoes discover them. Someone swats with a hand. We're good. Ah, yes. When he opens his mouth to speak, his smile seems to reach from ear to ear, overshadowing his face. Ladies and gentlemen, motioning to them, welcome to the Dark Tour. Behind him, the tomb of the voodoo queen Marie Laveau waits. 120 years before Val was sent to Angola for the murder of Quinn Landry, a young man by the name of Jack, owner of the Oak, the big house, his great-grandpappy, made a child a bastard. His child? Sorry. I'm going to read that part again. It needs to read right. 120 years before Val was sent to Angola for the murder of Quinn Landry, a young man by the name of Jack, owner of the Oak, the big house, his great-grandpappy, made a child a bastard. His child. He sent her as a baby back to Haiti. Images fade in and out. A majestic mansion with columns, a long path through giant oaks, gnarled limbs drooping down and into the ground. Right now, in 2019, in Vacherie, 51.7 miles away from this very spot, Jack's big house is exactly as it was in 1826. And how do we know it is the same, you ask? He walks into the crowd. People move for him to pass, but stay close. Val Moreau, in 1971, was obsessed with preserving everything exactly as it was to a time before the Azilis. He hired Hollywood set designer Pierre Louis to study old photographs in order to replicate the decor. His brows furrow. Now, why do you think he'd want to do that? The director shouts, "Okay, hold, and cut. Let's take 5. We're burning darkness. We have limited time at the mansion. Let's get this show on the road." The crowd, growing restless, fidgets. Brennan leans forward on his cane, looking down. He clears his throat. When he didn't speak, they become quiet. Then a calm, urgent. "Okay." He pauses for attention. "Scary begins now. If you brought your cell phone, turn it off. Leave it in your bag. When we get to the big house, leave it on the bus. If you have any questions during the tour, please do your best to remember them and email them in after. With the exception of emergencies, do not interrupt the tour. As you can see, we're filming tonight. You're all getting a bonus. You'll have a primetime TV show featuring your tour. If you can't abide what we've asked, please let me know now. We can refund your admission fee and part as friends." Someone from the film crew yells, "Okay, let's go." To the group, Brennan says, "All right, any takers?" No one raises a hand. The director calls, "All right, quiet everybody. Here we go. Quiet on the set. 4, 3, 2. He points. Brennan turns and walks to the tomb, his back to the camera, face to the crowd. They move to let him pass, then follow. Why do you think Val Moreau would want to decorate and arrange the oak just as it was in 1826? He pauses, waiting. His reason for this is why we are at this tomb. He points his cane. At the tomb of Marie Laveau, the voodoo queen of New Orleans. Ahs and oohs came from the crowd. He shifts, both hands on his cane, shoulders close to his ears. Val Moreau had a 120-year-old hit out on him by a voodoo priest who may have cavorted with Marie Laveau at that time. who may have cavorted with Marie Laveau at the time, all to bring about the generational curse on the Moreau family. He points his cane at a pile of flowers at the tomb's door. The practice of voodoo and all the objects and trinkets you see scattered all around this tomb and the X's drawn on it by its the practice of voodoo and all the objects and trinkets you see scattered all around this tomb and the X's drawn on it is called gris-gris. Gris is French for gray. Gray is the result of mixing black and white. Some would say good and evil. Voodoo is the mixing of Catholicism and African earth worship and mysticism. Voodoo is at the heart of why Val Moreau attempted to preserve 1826 at the Oak. And what's the real question we should be asking? He waits. What exactly was Val Moreau? He turns, walking toward the bus. It's time. To be continued. We'll start there tomorrow. Chapter 11. If you feel like buying the book, please do. I'm worn out. I am really worn out now. Let me go over the guitar one more time in case there's people that joined us. All right, we got to raise some money for the channel. This guitar, LTD Deluxe, serial number on the neck, ESP humbucker, single coils, Floyd Rose preamp in this right here with a battery, and it's fiddlewood or rippled maple. See if you can see it. See that? See the way it looks? Let's see if I can get it in there better. See that? See it? Let's see it. There we go. See how it glistens, that the wood ripples? See that? Right there, right there. Look at that, look at that. Beautiful guitar. $25. You say, what? $600 guitar with a case. $25 raffle tickets for 15 days. 15 days. And I'll draw the names. You can put in as many entries as you want. Renee Joy, thank you. That I loved doing that. I love doing that. Thank you so much. That was so much fun. And man, I'm give out. Thank you. You guys are awesome. And yeah, $25 entry on that guitar. As many as you want. 15 days, we'll draw the names. If you can't drive here to get it in New Orleans, we're going to mail it to you. I'm sure the shipping and handling and insurance will be $100 or more. So, Vincent Peretti, thank you. Thank you for today, Vincent Peretti. You are awesome. You are awesome. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace out.